welcome everybody to another Wednesday edition of the Heat Ratio Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Cotillo, joined by Mr. John Coker and Coach Dave Dixon. And today is episode number 50, the golden anniversary of the Heat Ratio. I never thought we would make it to this point. Dave came in. He was a late, he was late entry, which has been a great addition. But me and John were talking on off air about how horrible probably the first 10 or 12 episodes were.
It was bad.
Getting the sound checks right, getting the mics. I mean, it was just
equipment settings, all that.
We would spend how many hours would we spend editing and trying to?
Yep,
it was brutal. Talk about podcasting for dummies. Well, that's
and
exactly what it was.
every time I got it this time. I know what we did last time. I know what was wrong. I got it this time.
Before John would leave, you go, I'm telling you that you're not going to remember that. You're definitely not. And I did it every time. But it's been great, man. It's been absolutely wonderful. Again, our social media accounts have been great. We've attracted a lot of people from all different kinds of generations, which has been wonderful. Again, if you don't follow us, we're on Twitter at The Heat Ratio and on Instagram at The Heat Ratio. And, you can get us all the time. We post almost, what would you say, like every day. I'm nuts. But I really am. And our YouTube page has just started to grow. So another one, The Heat Ratio on YouTube. We post our episodes every week, and you get to see my spectacular mug exposed in the video probably once or twice.
One of these
every
days
week.
I'll get up on
We're going to
there.
get John and Dave on there as well. We're going to get them in the studio to give them I'm going to put a little makeup on them. Going to take them to Ulta, get a little face paint. But listen, for all the followers out there, I don't want to get long-winded, but we appreciate it, and I can't wait to do the next 50 to get to 100. Yep. It'll be fantastic. But speaking of, excitement, or I should say disappointment, we'll go
Fury.
Fury, that's a good one. Sadness, Eagles, Cowboys. Obviously we always recap the Eagles game to start the show because obviously it's a hot topic that everybody wants to talk about. And I really I don't say I could be sad. I'm not saying I'm sad. I'm not saying I'm upset. I'm not saying I'm hurt. I'm not saying I'm excited. I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm just kind of dude, that was a great game. I mean, you could say what you want, and it sucks that we lost, and it sucks the way we lost, right? But it was I was on my feet for that final quarter. I never sat down. I was high-fiving my son. We were pounding. I was getting hype. I was clapping. They all say I clap really loud. I don't know why. I just know how to clap right. But it just goes through the house, okay? But I was so excited. And, yes, it all came crashing down with Amari Cooper finishing in the end zone. I get it. But let's be honest. In that overtime, they took it to us. Our defense was spent. It really was. They were tired. And you just felt it. You felt that even if that play doesn't happen, I'm hard-pressed to think that they don't kick a field goal with probably, a minute and a half left, and we have to get. Yeah. I don't even know how that would have worked. So it was a really great game to watch, but it sucks that we lost. And I mean, I don't know what are your takeaways from this game?
Go ahead, Coach Dave.
He's chopping over there.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I'll be honest. I'm glad you started on a positive because I'm going to spit it in a positive too. I'm being honest. So we talked about the line of scrimmage being the be-all, end-all of winning this Dallas game, right? And I thought, so I'll go over offensive linemen. You have a hurt Jason Peters, you have a hurt Kelsey, and you have a hurt Lane Johnson. And I thought they gutted it out, and they did the best they could. They scored 23 points on this day. I know the first three quarters were, a stalemate of things, but the positive side to me was our team didn't give up. Our defensive line played strong, I thought, as best they could. And the D-backs, who we still can't name, who I mean, they did the best they could, and they stayed in the game. And like you said, it was an exciting game. So although there are negatives that we can discuss, I think the positive part about it is that our team gave it their all, in my opinion. Every one of those guys played their hearts out. I said, on defense, On defense, there's two guys that stuck out to me that I thought played their hearts out. Actually, three. I'm going to start with the defensive lineman and Michael Bennett, who has been
outstanding.
His 80% of play time that he demanded, my gosh, I'm glad that we're giving it to him because he deserves it. Playing like a man. Fletcher Cox.
Oof.
What can you say negative about him? I don't think there's one. And my other guy is Nigel Bradham, not Malcolm Jenkins. Although I thought Malcolm played great, Nigel Bradham hasn't come off the field for since he's come here from Buffalo. He's got 3 pins in his thumb and played his heart out, I thought, for us.
Without Jordan Hicks, by the way.
Jordan Hicks is the man of glass.
What I'm saying is, when Jordan Hicks is on the field,
how about it?
It takes away from Bradham.
Yeah.
Bradham plays another level without Jordan Hicks.
It's weird how that dynamic is. I don't disagree.
Can't explain it.
I don't disagree. And I think offensively we struggled with some things, but overall they played with heart.
I agree.
And that's the positive spin on it that I took away from this game.
Well, I add one more thing to that before we get to John, is what you said about, they gave it their all. And that's one of the reasons why I am not upset, because what you seen on Sunday was everything those Eagles had. Mm-hmm. They gave you it all, right? I mean, that defense, to play with guys that we've never even heard of, right? They gave it their all. I know Sidney Jones got burnt by Amari Cooper. We could say it was his hamstring because he did come out. This guy is going to be questionable for the future. I'm sorry. I don't even know what the hell to expect from Sidney Jones. Okay, but Rasul Douglas, he gave I get it. You know what? The tip ball, he read the play. He read it. He did it, and it just
That was a great play on his part.
Right.
Yeah.
We could be talking right now, him taking it to the house for 6.
Yeah.
If he gets the right, it happens. But they gave you it all. They gave you it all. So that's why I honestly, I can't really be mad at this point. I can't. What do you think, John? You've been through this before.
Look,
honestly,
I said it at the beginning of the season.
You did.
When everybody was.
You did.
Repeat. Dude, there is a Super Bowl hangover. There is no question in my mind. The year of the Super Bowl, everything goes right. Then you come back down to earth, and some things go right, some things don't go wrong. But when they don't go right, Super Bowl teams press themselves, and they try to overcompensate.
Yep.
And it doesn't always work. You know what I mean? The offensive coaches that left, that took a lot out of it. The offensive line is not playing the same way that they did last year. The Eagles, they're third. What are they? They're 6th worst in the league on quarterback hits.
Yeah.
He's taking a beat.
On the year you couldn't afford to be 6th worst in the league.
Right. Right.
Let's be honest.
They're middle of the pack in sacks, but that's an issue. They're not taking shots down the field. Say what you want. Okay, Mike Wallace ain't there. I don't care who's there. You still got to take the shot. So there's some little things. The core of the team, and yes, the way they played on Sunday versus Dallas. They gave it their all. They gave it their heart. They were up for the big game.
Yep.
We can say, is there questionable play calling? Of course, once again, they didn't run the ball. Whether or not
after a 20 and 24 yards,
you still keep these guys honest to get the rollouts, the play actions, and things like that. You still got to keep teams honest. So they didn't take the shots, but. It's kind of the season that, truthfully, me as a non-Eagle, I'm not a diehard Eagles fan. As an outsider, I expected about 9-7 season. So it was less.
Right, you did say that.
Right, it was. They struggled more than I thought they would. I thought their offense would have been clicking on all cylinders. This has nothing. No. I'm not talking Foles or Wentz.
Right. No,
everything, nothing just clicked. It did hurt the first 3 games without Alshon and Wentz. Even if they do have the chance to turn it around, that's 3 less games you have a chance to do it. We're sitting here in week 14. That would be like if they had, preseason and everything. We're talking. This is like their week 6, week 7.
Yeah.
If you flip it around like that.
No, you're absolutely right.
So they underperformed. You got to be consistent. So,
but my question to you. You're a perfect, person to ask because you've gone through this before in Pittsburgh. I mean, I did it. I did a little clip on YouTube about it, and I asked a question: if I were to say to you last year or any year for that matter, would you trade in a Super Bowl championship for a repeat 7-9 or 8-8 season? And I guarantee you that most people would say they would clamor to the word yes.
Right.
So if you mean to tell me that in order to win a Super Bowl, I have to go 9-7, or 9-7, 8-8, 7-9, whatever. Maybe even miss the playoffs.
5-11. I don't really care. Give me the ring.
Would you do it?
Yeah,
of course you would.
Give me the ring.
So
and you have to look at why you're whatever you are that
doesn't
following
mean, right.
year.
It doesn't mean you have to be happy. Don't get me wrong.
And that doesn't mean that you're not going to rebound year 3. It doesn't mean that next year. Look, this Eagles team, there was a lot of changes, a lot of things that this team, the coaching staff, nobody experienced before. All right,
you're right.
Going playing that long in the season, the guys that are injured and getting surgeries done and this and that stuff's not starting until late February, March, whatever. So, and then before you know, you're finishing your season. You're already at the draft. There's just a lot of things that go on. But this team is a solid team, and you don't need to make wholesale changes. You don't need to start, making decisions that are irrational just because of the way things went. So you have to take it all in proportion a little bit. Now, that's not to say that there doesn't need to be a shakeup, and I'm not saying that, Schwartzy's job safe or this or that. There's a lot of blame.
Better not be.
Right, and there's a lot of blame to be put all around.
I disagree with that, by the way.
But not wholesale changes. This team is a playoff team. They will be a playoff team next year, in my opinion. And, you always have a couple holes and a couple things that go wrong.
I disagree, though. It's more than this is going to be a big offseason. Okay, it's a big number one with a quarterback situation that you thought was plentiful. Who's your starting corners next year? You got Ronald Darby coming off an ACL injury, correct?
And being a free agent.
Who's a free agent. You got Sidney Jones, who shows, he might be built of glass because this guy, like Jordan Hicks, he can't stay on the field.
He's our Markelle Fultz.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Another Washington guy, by the way.
Oh,
right?
My.
Yeah, stay away from those guys. But no, I mean, so who is your starting corners next year? Let's think about. I mean, is it Bosby? Avante Maddox, I like, but have you seen enough? Rasul Douglas, we're looking at this right now. We're saying, we have a lot of question marks going into next year. Okay, your defensive line, a lot of question marks. Chris Long, Michael Bennett, who is, I'm pretty sure, I may be wrong on this, but I think he's on a 1 year. Like, I don't think he's signed, is he?
I thought it was 2 years.
You know what? You're right. He is 2 years.
Still in
so you have Bennett. It was Haloti Nada. We signed for 1 year. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
So Chris Long, Haloti Nada, Brandon Graham. Okay,
who's in a contract year?
Who's in a contract year? The only guys
all three
you
are
have,
old.
You have Bennett and Cox, right? That's who you have. Josh Sweat. You don't know, is he going to be a guy? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So that defense is going to change dramatically. Rodney McLeod is coming off an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm. Malcolm's old.
Malcolm's getting older. He did a lot this year. Mm-hmm. Malcolm his body probably aids another year just this year alone.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So, I don't think we're in the driver's seat here by any means, and I think we're going to have to start looking at Howie, okay, because guess what? Howie won a Super Bowl last year. I get it. But besides that, their drafts have been atrocious, right? And it's a reason why Brandon Graham, you're even talking about maybe bringing a guy like that back because your picks haven't worked out. Or Sidney Jones, okay? Or your running backs, okay? Josh Adams. Do I think Josh Adams is ever down back? No, I do not. I think he's a really nice back, but not a guy you can give the rock 20 times, though. I know he's gotten it, but I just don't. I think he'll break down. I don't think his body's made that way. So you have a lot of decisions. Offensive line.
Decisions, yes.
Offensive line.
Yeah.
Right?
Old.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not trying to get long-winded, but I mean, this is, and I know we're talking, but now we're looking ahead, but I mean, there's going to be a wholesale change coming forth in this offseason for the Eagles. And in a draft that's going to be huge, might I add. And what do you do at receiver? Are you talking about re-signing Golden Tate at 31 years old, who's shown you absolutely squat? Is that because it was Golden State or because Mike Rowe is, mixing Gatorade on the sideline? I don't know. This guy doesn't know how to use them.
Right.
Amari Cooper's the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Okay, since the trade. So how's that work out?
Well, let me tell you this. Teams, a.k.a. Kansas City Chiefs, they can succeed with a very poor defense. And I'm not saying that's what you want. I'm not saying that's the game plan,
I know, I get what you're saying.
But they have enough, even on the defensive line, to at least get pressure on the quarterbacks. You dealt with a whole lot of injuries in that defensive backfield. You don't know draft, free agency, this and that. You still have Carson Wentz at the helm.
Bottom line.
The question is, what about the offensive play calling, and can that change?
Because that's why Grove's got to go.
And I'm not disagreeing. And I didn't like him when you guys signed him.
Me neither.
So, bottom line is, look, do you re-sign Golden Tate? Well, I don't know, because I didn't see what he's capable of because of the way the freaking game was called.
We know what Golden Tate's capable of. 90 catches.
Yeah, that's what he's capable of. But in this offensive scheme, whether it's run by Grow or whoever, you still got Ertz. You're still going to have tendencies of Wentz. You still have Alshon there and Aguilar. So are you going to invest in Golden Tate? If maybe
Aguilar's a free agent.
Every quarterback has a preferred weapon, period. Okay?
Zach Ertz.
Right. So, if Alshon's number 2, no, I'm not spending the money on Tate to be a number 3 if he's just going to waste away.
I completely agree with you.
If you're going to start utilizing him and going with 2 guys and have a deep threat and actually start targeting him, and you can't – look, Wentz had no time to work with this guy. He comes over in, week 10? They had no time to build any type of rapper together.
Yeah, but that's bullshit because neither did Dak and Amari Cooper. They didn't have any time.
Dak was just happy someone came to save the passing game.
Your boy Gallup out there wasn't doing much, but no, seriously. So and I get it. Amari Cooper is a better polished receiver than Golden Tate, but Golden Tate's a veteran enough to where he should be able to adjust on his own. So doesn't that tell you that there's an issue with this offensive play calling? There has to be a problem. And I'm sorry, but Grow has got to go. I know he's a scapegoat. And I know all these people on Twitter are going to get at me and say, oh, Doug calls the plays. This guy's just a body anyway. Yeah, but guess what? Mike Grow is in the film room. Mike Grow is on the practice field. Mike Grow's philosophies are being followed. And I'll tell you what. It's not looking good. So somebody needs to go. I'll throw a name out. Why not? Let's get them out, right? Let's get them out. And I don't want somebody coming up through the chains. I don't want a guy that's on this team right now. Go call Gary Kubiak. Say, yo, Gary, you want to come out of retirement, be offensive coordinator? Him and Doug got a nice relationship. They know each other. You know what? Get a veteran guy in here now that can call these plays for next year. That's who I want. And I think that change needs to be made. It really does. Too much on Doug's plate right now. And Doug doesn't have that guy, even if he's calling a plays, to check him and to say, hey, Doug, wrong play, man. Hey, Doug, run the ball more, Doug. You gotta go for that, Doug, right?
So I don't disagree with any of that stuff. I'm on board with I could care less who we fire.
Gary Kubiak. I'm all in on Gary Kubiak.
There's a couple names out there. Caldwell is one from the old coach from the Colts.
Jim Caldwell? Yeah, but he's not an offensive guy. He's more of a defensive guy.
He is. You're right. I'm sorry.
You're thinking
sure?
Yeah.
No, who am I thinking of then?
You're talking about Arians? You got Bruce Arians out there.
I love Bruce Arians.
But Bruce Arians wants to be a head coach.
Yeah, and he would be obviously great at it. But so I'm okay with getting rid of Rowe. But what about Deuce too? What's his role in this? Deuce has been here the longest. Deuce, why is he escaping any type of criticism? I don't know.
Because he's the running backs coach.
Yeah, but isn't he the assistant head coach?
They just gave him that title because they hired Grow as the offensive coordinator.
Right. So,
you know what I mean? I hate to say it, but that's true.
Right. But he's got a voice, right? He supposedly should have a voice. I mean, everything that you're talking about, what's next for the Eagles, you're nail on the head. There are so many question marks, but then this rolls over to what John said. The reason why that you're liable or you'll be in the mix of things is because of Carson Wentz. And he will be a lot more healthy than he is this year.
Who you feel is one of the issues?
I feel that the last game we lost has a lot to do with Carson Wentz. And listen, I am a Carson Wentz fan. You and I talked about this. I love everything that this man does on and off the field. He is a true superstar in this league, and I think he's an excellent human being. But when we're sitting here and we're able to criticize certain things, Carson Wentz can't be deflected upon about, no criticism going his way. And Carson will stand up in front of you and tell you, I need to do a better job completing the ball on third down. 1 for 9 on third down, irregardless of play calling or not. You are the quarterback. You have to make the plays. You have to continue drives. That's part of playing that position. He understands that. He knows that. Now, I'm not taking anything away from play calling. Play calling, I don't disagree, is an absolute concern for me. But in the defense of play calling, you have to take what's given. That philosophy is throughout football. So if they're taking away your outside, then you throw inside. It's obvious that they're taking away our outside, and they're forcing Carson, and you touched upon this before, Tony, and this is another thing that you were 100% correct on. Sean Payton and the rest of the NFL is attacking Carson Wentz up the middle. Why are they doing that? They're doing that because they want him to force him to use his feet, which he doesn't trust yet, and he's not 100% healthy.
Right.
His drive foot, his plant foot is his left leg, and the ball is sailing because he's not confident using that leg yet. It's obvious. He's not able to make the same throws he made last year. His throws last year were on point, leading people in different spots, like the throw he made to Nelson Aguilar, which was an unbelievable throw down the sideline. He's not able to be consistent because he's not trusting himself, and he's still – that leg might be healed.
Yep.
His mind is not. And that's why you have a different Carson Wentz. And our offensive coordinators have to do a better job of why not get Golden Tate the ball? If they're blitzing us up the middle, throw the ball to the outside. Our screen game. Did we see screens against the Cowboys game at all?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think they tried to run one. I forget when it was, but I think Van Der Esch kind of ousted it. I mean, he.
You sure you didn't mean Van Der Bosch?
Is it Van Der Esch?
It is. It's Van Der Esch. Remember, I was made fun of me.
Oh, you said Van Der Bosch last week. I was like, wait, hold on.
So
Van Heusen.
What?
Wait a minute.
What the hell's that?
So, you guys are 100% correct, but I do think that Carson is part of what needs to get better, and I absolutely believe he will. This guy, he will. I know he will.
See, I have no problem with that. What you just said. Maybe we were. I mean, we were kind of, getting a little scuffle on Twitter yesterday, and
it's all written text.
Written word is always able to be.
Well, I think it was all the people. I need to stay off of Twitter after the games, and I do because
you were fired up.
Well, Eagles Twitter.
You were a character assassin against me.
I mean, Eagles Twitter is just crazy, man. I mean, I'm watching Carson Wentz's press conference on Periscope, and the comments are going on. You're a bum. Get off the mic. I'm like, are you kidding, man? Like,
there are people that don't know, Tony.
It's like,
they don't know.
Just get out of your mom's basement and stop, okay? Yeah. Stop with the comments. But you know what? Listen, we could break. What I need to ask though is when real fast, like going forward to the next game. I mean, what do we? Well, obviously we're still in it. Okay, it's a small, minute chance, right? With Carolina losing, Minnesota throwing that stink bomb out there. That DiFilippo, I'm probably going to get fired this week. Okay, I seriously think he is.
I'll take him back in a minute. Too.
I mean, Booger McFarland basically had him fired on TV. I don't know if you guys watched it.
No,
he was killing him. Booger McFarland was killing John DiFilippo last night. I mean, basically, if I'm listening to that game, and I'm the owner, I'm thinking, well, I need to get rid of this guy now. I mean, he's getting killed. Mm. So, I would take him back. Just like Hugh Jackson went back to Cincinnati. I mean, if you're going to fire John DiFilippo, let me tell you something. I'd take him back in the fold any day of the week. But what I want to ask you guys is, do we – how do I say it without sounding like – but, I mean, do we brace ourselves for a possible playoff run? I mean, is that even thinkable? I mean, what we need – I mean, listen, we're going to play the Rams this week, okay? And we know – what happened. The Rams laid an egg against the Bears. The Bears dominated the Rams for 4 quarters. Mm-hmm. Okay, Khalil Mack showed why he is one of the highest paid defensive players in all football because that's how good he is. Okay, and the one thing I do want to say about that game is what I loved about it is it showed that defense in the NFL is not dead, and that if you can win, that Bears team has every similarity except for Jamal Lewis of that 2001 Ravens team. Okay, with that defense, because it's right.
Big. Saying that's a big.
I'm being honest. I mean that you went down and you shut out 6 points. Jared Goff threw 4 picks. They didn't know what to do. That team does have Todd Gurley, right? Yeah. I mean, we're talking about one of the MVPs of the league. You shut that team down. They had no idea what to do. That's huge. That is gigantic. And Nagy is out there, and what he's doing, we've talked about play calling for weeks on this show with the Eagles, and what is he doing? He's catering to the strengths of his team. He knows Mitchell Trubisky's not going to throw 80-yard bombs to Allen Robinson, so what's he doing? He's throwing gadget plays. He's checking in 2 offensive linemen into a trickery play to get a touchdown. Okay? He's doing stuff with Tariq Cohen that we can only imagine. So he is pulling out all the stops. And I don't see that creativity with us this year. And that's the creativity we had last year. So what do we do going forward to these next few games? I mean, what are we looking at? I mean, I don't even know. John, you've been in this situation before. You know, when you kind of knew as a Steelers guy that, you know, you just come off a Super Bowl run and you know it's really not there. Are you just kind of looking at, is it sad to say that you're just kind of looking forward to next year?
That's the reality of it.
Right. I mean, exactly.
You ain't got the team. You ain't got the firepower. It ain't working. I mean, yeah, you still root. Once they're eliminated, it really means nothing. You try a couple guys out at new positions, or, you know what I mean, get some of the reserves in, get whoever, to see if you have any hidden gems out there. You know, guys start taking plays off, taking time off. It means nothing. You know, you still have a shot. You still root for them. Look, you're going up against the Rams team. Like I said, there's tweaks. Like, there's certain teams that have no shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's nothing that's going to happen in Oakland to all of a sudden make them a playoff caliber team.
Right.
All right? There are tweaks. You could win this game against the Rams. I'm not saying I'm expecting it. I ain't calling it. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. You don't know how Goff is going to bounce back from that horrific game that he had. So you never know. You root for him until it's done. Houston they've been running the ball, but they haven't been able to throw the ball. You know what I mean? And then you're looking at Washington, which they're done.
No, I mean, it's
so.
A good
I mean,
point.
there's still a chance, but yeah, you're really looking forward to next year. You're looking at what is the major problem, and what is the whole conglomerate of little things that came together and made it one big nasty season.
How you, Dave? What are you looking forward to?
I mean,
it's tough. It's a tough
heart.
situation.
I'm looking at heart. I'm looking to see, and what John's talking about too. I still believe that there's a glimmer of maybe this offense could come together and do some things. Now, you talked about the Bears versus Goff. Goff was absolutely horrific, and Sean McVay talked about the lack of use of Gurley. Again, coaches believe that they're bigger than the game.
Yeah.
Do the right thing, man.
Exactly.
Use what you got. Jared Goff was 20 for 44 with 180 yards, 4 picks with a 19.1 QBR. Sean McVay forced him into those stats, if you will, by not handing the ball off.
You know who did? It's a good point, because I'm watching the Saints and the Tampa game, and I'm watching another guy. You talk about bigger than the game, and I love Sean Payton, but I'm watching them methodically drive down the field finally in the second half with Kamara and Mark Ingram. They get a 1st and goal to 2. The first 3 plays they throw. Like, I don't understand. What are you? And then they got to go for it on 4th, and they sneak it with Breeze and get the touchdown. But still, those 3, you're not handing the ball. This guy just acted like a ping pong ball to the entire defense, and you're not even using them at the goal line?
They believe that they constantly have to reinvent the wheel, which sometimes is it's disheartening to watch. It really is. And you have these weapons, and you don't use them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I just feel like every coach is trying to get too damn cute once you get inside the 5-yard line, especially when you're at the 5-yard line. Okay, I get it a little bit. Dude, you're done at the 2. I don't care. You run the ball you run the ball, period. Yes. And I'm not saying some out to the sidelines. I mean, if that's the way they bounce
the gut.
yes, you do it.
Right up the gut.
And only thing that happens, then you go pass, incomplete pass. All right, well, now they're definitely looking for it. You know what I mean? And all you're doing is making things worse. You're making yourself more predictable. All right? Spread two receivers out wide and then run the ball up the middle. If you're that concerned about them all jamming it up, it's all about the formation. You still run it. You got to run the ball.
So real fast, what do you got for a prediction? You got any kind of prediction against the Rams this week? Honestly. I mean, do you think we can go in there? What's the percentage of us going in there and actually winning?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't even know the Vegas line.
I'm going 27-23 Rams.
That's wow. That's a decent. That means it's a decent game.
That means the defense.
I'll tell you what.
I don't think it'll be more than. It ain't going to be over a score.
After watching
it'll be
this
within
weekend's
7.
action again, there's no doubt in my mind that anything can happen. Anything can happen. So and that's why I honestly but that's why I say Grove's got to go. Give me a change. If there's a chance, you know what? Change it up. Change it up for the next 3 weeks. You know what I mean? What do you got to lose, right? You have 0 to lose. So, but we talk about Carson, and we talk about, but what about the Lions? And the reason why I brought up the Lions is because I bring the Matt Stafford question up because all the people that want to kill Carson Wentz and the people that want to say, how bad he's been. I get all that. I know he has stuff to work on, but Matthew Stafford has been horrendous this year. Horrendous. And I understand he has some back issues, and I understand that, they've had some issues out there with Patricia's a new coach and trying to instill a new offense, and first-year New England guys as coordinators, as coaches, don't always turn out real well. Just ask Josh McDaniels. But, you're right. But still, all in all, I mean, this guy, they came into this guy to a 5-year, $135 million contract. Okay, $50 million signing bonus. Averages about $27 million a year. He can opt out 2001. Okay, but for 2019, he has a number $19.5 million with a $29.5 cap hit. 2020, $21.5 million, $31.5 cap hit. Dude, if you're Detroit and you're watching this product on the field, you have really no choice, do you, but to stick with this guy? I mean,
I'm sticking with the guy because, truthfully, that's the only bright spot you have on the whole darn team. They have
Kenny Galladay has been a bright spot.
What I'm saying, Tate's gone. Marvin Jones on IR.
Right.
You got a good young receiver. You got Stafford. They haven't been able to run the ball since Barry Sanders was there.
You are right about that.
They haven't had a good defense since Barry Sanders was there. You know what I mean? But my point is, they have nothing. So Stafford was getting sacked more than almost any other quarterback for years there. They committed to him.
They have a few building blocks in that team.
Yes,
right?
But my point is, Stafford is not the issue. I mean, they got a lot of things that they need to do. They need to get that offensive line cleared up.
But what I'm saying, though, is what I'm saying, not to cut you off, is about Stafford is, if by the time you make all these moves,
he'll be
right.
Probably.
So it's
do him a favor,
right?
Do him a favor and cut him, or trade him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you pick up, Jacksonville need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback.
Maybe you get me a couple draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking
great
you may
fit
be
in
able
Jacksonville.
to move. You're essentially getting a guy for 2 years. What if Jacksonville drafts a quarterback? Right? They draft a quarterback. And they say, we can grab Stafford for 2 years, cut him after 2021, which we said cap number in 2021 is like $10 million. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you're going to eat that $10 million. So you got a veteran guy for 2 years, help bring your guy along, and, dude, you're set. You'd be competitive. I mean, I think it's a good move, but I think Detroit really has to look at what their end game is.
That's
really
kind of where I'm at.
They really do.
What are they? Yeah, what are you getting at? I mean, unless you're going to pull an Oakland Raiders and gut the team.
It's just crazy
because they've and think about it. I was just going to look and see. I don't know what has Detroit's record been. Let's just say over the past 5 years.
We could do a whole show on
9-7
or
7-9.
7-9, exactly. So my point is, it's not like they've been this terrible team, and it's not like they have
Calvin
nothing.
Johnson,
huh?
Did they have Calvin Johnson?
Yeah.
I'm just saying they did give him Calvin Johnson.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
But I guess my point is, it's not like they've ever really been to complete tear down rebuild mode. They're 2 games away from going in the playoffs for the past 5 years.
My main point is I just don't think Stafford's the guy. He's just a guy. He can never be the guy. He's just a
That's
guy.
possible.
Right?
Well, but you know what? I think a lot of other teams are going to think the same thing.
I agree. That's I'm just
Yeah,
I
but
just
you
watched-
add him to a piece.
Right.
You add him to. How about you add him to Tampa Bay? Right, Winston, get rid of Winston, and you add Stafford
And
to
we've
that
talked
offense.
about that. You know, they're going to have a decision.
I don't even see that being much different than where he's at. You have no run game and you have no defense.
Tampa Bay's defense is okay.
So is Detroit's,
No.
but nothing that's going to carry any team.
It's like my mom used to say, it's mez to mez.
Yeah, mez.
But, you know, sticking on the NFL, because we'd like to go around the NFL for a few minutes. You know, we talked about the Bears. How about Patrick Mahomes? I mean, is Patrick Mahomes the next Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods? The guy where you stop everything? I mean, he was throwing no-look passes. I mean, I still – Baltimore shut that team down for a half, and that's all they could – I mean, you got Tyreek Hill running around with half a foot, right? You got Kelsey just bowing over guys. Kareem Hunt – he's in, domestic abuse jail. Okay, right? I mean, and then you got Patrick Mahomes just saying, "I got this," and I've never ever seen anything like it. He's on pace for like 54 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's fun.
I mean,
so the no-look pass was phenomenal.
It really was, especially when you do it in slow motion.
But the one of athletic prowess to me was he rolled right.
Okay.
And he threw a ball, which is against
on the
all
fourth down.
the quarterbacks. No, you don't do this ever. He threw it across the field to the other hash for a strike, for a completion. To me, that was, and it was like on a frozen rope. The kid is exactly what you said. He is similar to a Michael Jordan type of player for the NFL. He'll be the face, and you know what? You listen to him talk. He's fun to listen to.
He's
still a kid, right? He's
is.
playing a game that, and he's energetic and charismatic, and he's fun to listen to, and he's obviously very fun to watch. So
he is. He's definitely fun to watch.
Did we just touch on the Super Bowl contenders this year, the Bears and the Chiefs?
I mean, I'll tell you what, that would be a great Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to watch
because
that.
Look at the segue. You got Nagy, ex-coordinator,
Yeah.
against student versus pupil, right?
Yeah.
I mean, student versus teacher.
Oh.
I mean,
I already
Big
know
Red.
Andy would lose.
Yeah, he would choke. He chokes all the time.
Well, the one thing that I will say, I think we all like Mahomes. You know what he does on and off the field, and what he's going to do for the Chiefs moving forward. But just remember, this Chiefs story right now ain't too far off from the Eagles
of
story
last year.
year.
You're right. That's
so
a good
you
point.
never know when a guy, he was a world beater, for the first X number of weeks. He took a couple lumps. Look, sometimes that magic's there and sometimes it's not, and it's about how you rebound.
Speaking of magic, okay, we'll throw a little Green Bay talk in here real fast. Before we get into some Christmas talk and some hot stove and some fantasy, but I don't know if you guys caught this, but Brett Favre was asked, who he would like to see as a successor to Mike McCarthy out there in Green Bay, and he said, I'd like to see if Doug Pederson was available. And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, man. If Doug Pederson's who Brett Favre wants, I'm looking at airline tickets right now for one way. And I'll give you the scenario. Here's my scenario. That's the only reason why I'm saying this. Word is that John Harbaugh is out in Baltimore, no matter what they do. Okay, they want to go in a different direction. They think it's time for him to go. They're probably going to wind up trading Flacco. They're going to get rid of, he's probably going to be fired. If you told me right now that I could send Doug to Green Bay, I'm taking John Harbaugh as my head coach. Am I wrong? Anybody have a problem with that? Oh,
I don't have a problem.
I know this is fairy tale speaking.
I liked it. This is our conspiracy stuff. We've been doing this.
I'll just say he's a Philly guy.
Yeah.
He knows the team.
Yeah. But say Harbaugh's success is who are our coordinators? We need good coordinate. We need a good offense because he doesn't call plays.
No.
He doesn't call plays. So I'm okay if Doug goes. What are we getting for Doug?
Oh, we'll get a first-round pick.
All right, see you later, Doug.
Right?
All right. Well,
first-round pick for Doug.
Yeah. I maybe a first and a second we'll take.
Yeah. We'll take a
so
first.
I'd like John Harbaugh is he's good. He's a good NFL head coach.
So you bring in John Harbaugh. You get rid of Schwartzy, your boy, because we're going to redo the coach staff, right? And when Greg Williams doesn't get the job out there in Cleveland because they're going to bring in somebody else, we'll take Greg Williams as a D coordinator, and then we give a call to Gary. I love Gary Kubiak. I'm sorry. Give a call to Gary Kubiak. Yo, you want to be the offensive coordinator? I'm starting to build something here. Got Carson Wentz. Got a young team. You know what? I'm all in. So now you go Harbaugh, Kubiak, Williams, as opposed to Pederson, Groh, and Schwartz. Come on, man.
Yeah,
is that a slam dunk?
Yeah,
I know I'm playing with house money here.
Yeah, well, that's fun. It's fun talk. It's
fun.
fun.
I'm ready to get rid of Tomlin and bring in Cowher.
No, get out of here.
Give me Cowher. That's all they need is a good butt chewing.
Mike Tomlin. If I was listen, now you're killing me, and you're a Pittsburgh guy. If you said to me right now, you're an owner of an NFL franchise, and you could pick your head coach out of all 32 in the NFL right now, Mike Tomlin is my guy, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I'm a huge Tomlin guy. Look, listen, we don't even have this written down. Who are you taking?
No,
coach.
I'm not saying that I don't like Tomlin in general. That team is floundering, and they need someone to rip into
Ben's
him.
Old.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Look, we're going to get way over time on this NFL talk if we get into this because it has nothing to do with Ben. It has to do with no leadership and no one chewing at other players from the coaching staff because they just need someone to light a fire under them and get something going. And Tomlin comes out all the time. We just have to look deep and, we just all have to be accountable for what we do and make the plays. And no, I don't want to hear this.
It's all the hate on Omar Epps, man. You're hating on Omar Epps.
Nah.
Stop. What about you, Dave? Who you taking?
Sean McVay.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So who would you take, John?
Carson Wentz and Sean McVay.
That's interesting. It's a good pick, though. I'm taking Tomlin.
I like Mike Tomlin, but I listened to Rocky Blyers, who quotes on Twitter, who I loved Rocky Blyer when I was a kid.
I know who that is?
Yes. Rocky Blyer's story is a true story. The guy who talk about,
I'll be honest, dude. I have no idea.
Rocky Blyer played back when they won their 4 Super Bowls. He was a war veteran who got injured in the war and went on and played in the NFL, broke all kinds of odds to make it, and was Franco Harris's backup, and was a big part of the Steelers' run when they did it. So Rocky Blyer comes out and quotes on Twitter about accountability. Stuff that you and I talked about.
Accountability.
Putting people in place. Whether you love this guy or not, you need to put people in place. And sometimes verbalizing it and saying it out loud means something to people. And where we come from Pittsburgh, from Philly, we don't want a Gabe Kapler. And I know that's a different segue and stuff, but you don't want somebody that thinks that everything's cupcakes, rainbows, and unicorns. Because guess what? It's not. If you need to be called out, you need to be called out.
It's our coach. Cupcakes and rainbow.
And that's what the Pittsburgh fans want. They just lost 3 in a row, and they want accountability. They want Tomlin to come out and say, you know what? Our kicker blew it. Are you kidding me? You're supposed to get your foot down and kick the football. You slip? You're not allowed to slip. You're not allowed to.
Wow, that was loud.
See? No slipping.
See what happened?
No
we just went
Soccer players
we just
screw
went
up
over
everything.
15 minutes now of what we were supposed to talk about.
We're slipping on time.
What's going on? We got to get to this, though, because we were talking about, obviously, these are Christmas wishes that aren't going to happen, but, well, what the hell? So, speaking of, we're, 14 days away from the big day when Santa comes down the chimney, right? So, speaking of Santa, when you got, I got to talk about little Christmas gifts here because, listen, our kids nowadays are all spoiled. We know that. They have everything. They don't need nothing. They really don't. It's ridiculous. Okay? But back when Christmas was a little different, I think, before you didn't believe, Mr. Coker, okay? So that's probably before 5 for you. But, what do you remember? What was the best gift that you ever received? That one thing that you couldn't stop playing with, and you wanted it so bad, and you got it, and you were cheesing all day over it. Do you remember what that was? Do you remember anything from your Christmas childhood?
I guess I'm up. Look, when you're talking when you
Oh,
believed in
look,
Santa, no, I don't really remember. I can tell
Are you kidding?
not really, but no, that's way in the past. I would say two things. I can't remember a particular. Actually, one I probably got. Getting Optimus Prime.
Oh, the Transformers
that had the full blown open
Oh,
up.
yeah.
You know,
that it took me
the
a
trailer
month to
opened
figure
up.
out.
Yeah.
When there was no Google instructions?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
That was before Google.
That and the other thing was Micro Machines.
Oh, wow. I
Those
remember
little
them.
Micro
I forgot
Machines.
about Micro
And
Machines.
they had like all kind. They started coming out with like the building, it was like in a little case, and then you build them together. So you had like streets and could build a whole city and all this stuff. From
That's
the
when
Micro
toys
Machines.
were cool, man. That was before all these tablets and iPads and iPhones and apps. That was when you actually sat down on a floor and played, man.
Yeah.
And what
remember
about
those
you,
days.
Dave? What do you got?
G.I. Joe's fortress, their command center, if you will. That's G.I. Joe was a big deal for me.
I was
man.
never a G.I. Joe guy.
I think because
I
I'm
don't
a
know
little
why.
old. I'm a little older than you guys, so I like G.I. Joes were a big deal, man. That was a big thing for me, and I loved it. I got their jet that came. It was separate, but it was the
set the
wings
guys
came
up
out.
in there.
The wing came out. Oh man,
You set them
those
all
were.
up.
And I was the guy, whether you believe us or not, I was the decal guy that, like, the kids in the neighborhood, I would go to their house and they want me to put their stickers on because
Oh yeah.
I
followed,
you can't mess up them stickers.
I followed
you
the
ruin
directions.
everything.
And,
No, I could see that.
and the stickers were on perfect. And my buddy Ryan McGuire, shout out to Ryan, was he would wait for me to come down Christmas Day, and he'd be like, "Oh, you got to put the stickers on," and then I was my detail. So.
I remember those, and they were so fine too. Like
Yeah.
if you ripped them coming
Yeah.
off the sheet.
You know, I think I had some stuff that I never put them on because I didn't want to mess
Yeah,
it
you didn't
up.
wanna mess 'em
so
up.
I just never put them. I had them. They were like crisp. Never put them on.
I don't know what's worse, those decals or them stupid ones that come in the egg dyeing kits for Easter that never stick. You know what I mean? But listen, I'm going to go. Oh, I had two things too. One of them, I'll never forget. I was a big race car guy. Like I wanted. Remember the racetracks?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember I got the Mountain Range Turbo Hopper edition. And it was like, you know, it was so back in the day. So it was a yellow track. It kind of went like through all these hills and like the cardboard cutouts of like mountains on the side. It had the two controllers and it had the silver tracks where they had to stay on there. That'd be I played for that for hours. That and a car wash. I was a Matchbox guy.
Ooh.
Remember the car washes? It was literally like. It was a Fisher Price thing. Had an elevator. I could like take my car up to the parking lot,
yep.
drop it off.
Yep.
It would go down the hill.
Yep.
Then you get a little car wash in there if you want to. Man, they don't make things like that.
I think that's
nowadays.
interesting. You were a Matchbox guy. I think
Why?
because I was a Hot Wheels guy.
Okay.
And I think like there was never a crossover for whatever reason.
Yeah, you
See,
know
and
what?
that's what makes this show good because I didn't care. I liked them both. So I'm the crossover.
Really?
Hot Wheels match. I didn't care. Give me the car. I
How
don't care
about
which one
that?
it is.
Man, I had a case, man. It had like
Yep.
once I had 100 cars in there. You know, and I would literally like set them up. Remember the mats? You could buy the mats,
Yeah.
right? And you set up a whole parking lot. You'd like parallel parking cars
Yep.
and stuff. Our
Well, and
kids
then
have
I used
no
to.
idea.
I used to have
They
like.
really don't.
You had to use your imagination.
Yeah, man.
I used to have like. I had my good ones, but then I had like some older ones that like might have a paint chip or whatever.
Yeah.
and just don't
yeah.
run good.
They
Now
were-
those are your outside ones.
that was
not,
the bumper set.
Right. Now you go outside, you're underneath the pine tree where it's all like dirt and stuff, getting rocks, like building a whole like little thing out there.
That's funny. Man, that's some good times.
Star Wars toys
it's like
were big for me too.
I was a He-Man guy.
I like
He-Man and professional, the big rubber wrestlers for wrestling.
Oh, the wrestlers.
Remember them?
Yeah.
They weighed like 15
Yep.
pounds. Yo, I used to paint their faces with markers, like the Ultimate Warrior, and like face paint on them. Oh man, I'll tell you what, that's like reliving fantasies all over again. Speaking of fantasy, we got fantasy football playoffs. And I hate to say this because, you know, Amari Cooper kind of won me my playoff matchup. I mean,
Mine too.
It sucks. I mean, it really does suck.
54 points.
It had
Yeah, as you both sit there
49.7.
and smile, it sucks real bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I
the
wasn't
fantasy
happy.
world.
I
You
wasn't
root-
happy during the game.
Look, you root for your team.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantasy always comes set. I would always take a Steelers win over whatever my fantasy guy doing good, but it's always a nice consolation.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, obviously Amari Cooper had a big week, and I think he's been the best receiver in football in fantasy, right? Since the trade.
Probably.
We all wanted to bash Jerry Jones. You gave a first-round pick for his.
Hey, I got to admit it.
Yeah, me too. So, and now I look at us like, man, we offered a second for him. But, yeah, he's been a stud. Numbers-wise, I have him. Obviously, Tony does too. And when he got traded to the Cowboys, I was like, oh, this actually might be a good thing.
So I get a question. What do you do? There's a big game coming on Thursday night.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Playoff implications. Literally in the NFL and the fantasy world.
Yep.
2 guys, Tyreek Hill and Melvin Gordon.
Dude,
it's a short week.
There's a lot of guys.
But I'm saying those 2 guys with the injury effect, right? Mm-hmm. More so Melvin Gordon and Tyreek Hill, right? Because even though Tyreek Hill looked pretty bad, even though they're saying he's day-to-day, he said afterwards he was playing in some pain. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and you could tell. So, if I had my choice, I would say I'd be I'd feel more comfortable starting Tyreek Hill over Melvin Gordon, but it's a short week. It's a Thursday night game. I mean, if Melvin Gordon comes out and Anthony Lynn says, listen, he's going to play, but we're not sure how much time he's going to get, what do you do there? I mean, it's so hard, man. I mean, this is week 15. I mean, do you say, I just got to roll with them?
I mean, it depends on your other options. You got to.
Your options are never going to be as good as Melvin Gordon.
So let me put this out here, John, before you say, if you don't play him, he's going to bite you in the ass probably, right?
There's a good possibility. I mean, yeah, you don't know. I mean, Thursday games, historically they were high scoring. I don't know. It's been a lot of lopsided games. I think that was just by nature of the matchups. But I don't know how high scoring it's going to be. You're on that short turnaround. You're dealing with an injury. I mean, you got to play your studs, but it's not even. I'm less concerned with the snap count as much as I am.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is he going to be able to make it through the game?
Well, that's my point. And I'm reading on your notes, which you do a great job with here. I didn't know this. It says unreported concussion for Austin Eckler.
Well, he got a stinger. That was my own personal notes.
Okay, that's
so
okay.
It's all about wording and this and that. He was in the tent. He had a stinger. Basically, he was not diagnosed with a concussion in that blue tent. Next day, I don't know if he got diagnosed with the concussion, like on Monday or something. Got a real stiff neck, can't really turn his head good. He's looking questionable. You got Gordon looking questionable. What does that mean for Justin Jackson? I kind of want to stay away from that backfield.
And San Diego has to win this game.
Well, I mean, them and Kansas City. This is for the look. This is San Diego still got a shot at the number 1 seed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both.
Game. Even though everybody keeps saying KC locking up, no. San Diego was right there. I keep saying that's rolling. Twice. San Diego.
I know we all say San Diego.
I slipped San Diego.
Whatever.
Twice.
We know
Chargers.
Chargers. Man, I'll tell you what, they still got a shot at it. But
they do.
You got Sammy Watkins out as well.
Yeah,
good possibility he's out. Chris Conley playing. When Watkins is out, I'll tell you what, that's the other thing. Tyreek Hill has seen such an uptick in his targets and his usage with Sammy Watkins out. I don't know. I don't know. It all depends on your alternative.
Here's the thing. The guy I'm playing, getting our personal matchup, the guy I'm playing in the playoffs this week has Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, and I have Melvin Gordon. So it's like Thursday night's going to say a lot, going into the weekend. And
I think if Gordon's starting, I think you play him.
You have to,
especially with Eckler being banged up. If all 3 of them are around and you start splitting it 10-10-10 or whatever carries a piece, and Eckler's always all year he's been capable as a receiver,
right?
But if Eckler's banged up and they're a little hesitant to use him, Jackson's more of a runner. I don't know. And what is it? It's a sprained MCL for Gordon, which is usually a lot of it's a pain thing. I know Lev Bell had it a couple years. It's a 2 to 4 range. If he's good enough, because originally they were talking it was like severe. Then quickly in 3 days they turn around. Well, he might even played it like
it was
week.
real. Yeah.
So unless you have stacked at running back and have an alternative, I might go like I don't know if you have a Jalen Samuels. If you're down to Samuels or Gordon, I didn't do my Week 15 projections, but now you're talking. Well maybe. Or if you have an Ingram and a Gordon, do you go an Ingram? I don't know. You got to wait another day or two,
dude. It's going to be interesting. I mean, there was a lot of guys who really took a dump, so to speak, in the fantasy playoffs of Week 1, right? I your list right now. I mean,
I could tell. I could run off my head because it's the first year in probably a decade I'm not in the championship game.
I love it.
Ben Roethlisberger going out, even though like he still put up a decent line, he was out for like a whole quarter.
Yep.
That killed me. Jordan Reed, toe injury, no catches, killed me. Adrian Peterson, and I knew darn well that even though they had a good matchup against the Giants, it's been weeks. The wear and tear on his body's going down. But if you don't have an alternative, what do you do? So there was a lot of guys that just
David Johnson. The hell? I mean, is it just a team?
I believe it's a team.
Josh Rosen nobody respects that passing game. So if
Yeah,
you're
but
not
we've
throwing
seen
the ball
this before,
downfield,
though. We've seen this before.
That kid can play.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a player.
It just
I believe it's coaching and
scary. It's scary, especially when you sign that guy all that money. I mean, I understand the Josh Rosen effect, but guess what? There's other teams with bad quarterbacks. I mean, I'll play devil's advocate. Does anybody respect Jeff Driscoll? Did Joe Mixon play well? So I'm saying you can't just blame Josh Rosen. There's something going on there.
Well, that whole team and coaching, a brand new coach.
It's scary because you drafted this guy number 2, 3 overall.
So go back. That a good point about going back to quarterback.
Right.
Like the quarterback from Jacksonville, Leonard Fournette still able to.
Under Cody Kessler.
No, it's definitely some game plan, but I guess they're a ground and pound. David Johnson, not that he's not capable of it. And like you guys did say, is it the coaching or the offense? Because they don't run that type of offense. Same thing with Josh Rosen. Cincinnati airs the ball out. Andy Dalton airs the ball out for years. We haven't seen that since Kurt Warner's been down in Arizona. You know what I mean? Even when it was Bradford or whatever. But so I just think it's a little bit different. Nobody respects that downfield ball, especially with Christian Kirk out.
And when did Josh Allen become like Michael Vick?
He's an athlete.
About 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks
this
ago.
This dude's averaged like 90 yards a game.
When you're exactly right. He's getting like 70, 80 plus yards a game plus a touchdown. So think about this from fantasy purposes. If you know you could bank on 13 points, 70 yards and a touchdown, 13 points guaranteed every week, that's your floor. Anything you do passing, that's gravy on top of that. He's definitely in play. If it's between Stafford and Josh Allen this week, off the top of my head, I can't think who.
I got
Detroit
a huge dilemma quarterback wise. I had it last week. I have it again this week. Cam Newton or Baker Mayfield.
I'm going with the same answer I gave you last week. Cam Newton.
And he's boned me for 2 straight weeks now.
And
2 straight weeks he's boned me hard.
I love that phrase.
He has.
That's another reason why I'm out of one of my playoffs.
Right?
Yep. Cam Newton killed me.
So now I'm thinking, do I just say, you know what? I'm going all in, dude. I'm starting Baker Mayfield this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm ride or dying with Baker Mayfield.
Over Cam Newton, I would do that in a second.
I got the matchups right here,
and here's the thing.
To see this.
And now, preface this by saying we only got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
But preface this by saying that I also have Nick Chubb. So now I'm going to start 2 guys on the same team.
Do it.
No. They're at Denver, and I already have. See, I have this stuff sitting here prepared, but on my sit list is Chubb.
How do you sit Chubb?
I'm not saying that you can do it. I'm just saying I don't expect a good performance. Look, when you don't have alternatives, you got to stick with the guys that got you there. I'm not saying that.
I'm not starting Josh Adams.
But No, exactly. You got to do you look at the matchups when you're talking about like for like. If you have a guy that it's a superior athlete and has performed much better than someone else, you don't start getting too cute with matchups, especially in the playoffs.
Now you got me scared. Now you got me scared.
That's even double reason. When you're at Denver, I am not doubling up with 2 Cleveland guys. No way, no how.
Wow.
Cleveland's playing pretty good offensively. What's their record since Hugh Jackson's gone 3-2, or they have a winning record?
They're definitely playing well, but now you just gave me all the stuff I got to think about.
Look, they're playing home against New Orleans. We know Orleans is a great team.
I'm worried about his
That's
injury.
a division game, and I don't think it's going to be low scoring. That's for sure.
I'm just worried about his shoulder. That's all. And Christian McCaffrey running the ball in.
Well, he's been throwing.
That's the other thing. So you said Cam Newton's been killing you. Look. 2 of those, it didn't even go to McCaffrey on one of his touchdowns at first. That was like third option.
I know.
So point is, if he gets 1 or 2 more touchdowns, he didn't kill you.
I didn't throw a pick. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah.
But we got to wind this down again. Every time we have thousands of things to talk about.
I know.
Just real fast. This is episode 50, and we want to thank all the followers and all our listeners like we did earlier. We got a lot of stuff planned, new logos, new videos, maybe 2 shows a week. We got a lot of things coming up. So please let us know what you think. Hit that subscribe button for us. Hit the rating button for us. Hit the like button. Hit the review button. Give us something.
Yep.
Just give us a little bit.
We can only get better if we know what you guys want to hear.
If we suck, tell us we suck. It's okay. If we're good, tell us we're good. If you say, hey, maybe you guys should spend a little more time on this, I would listen more. Hey, whatever you guys want to do, we're here because we're passionate about our opinions, but we also like to interact with the audience as well. So it's something that we feel very strongly about. So we're going to wrap this up. For Tony Cotillo at TCotillo23, and for John at PGH John 36, and for Coach Dave Dixon at Coach Dixon 365. I got it right again. Follow us at the Heat Ratio at the Heat Ratio on Twitter and on Instagram. And everybody have a great Wednesday, and we will see you next